Hey everybody, and welcome to the Army Showcase. The Army Showcase is where we take a look at different armies from different games. And in today's video, we're gonna have a look at this army from this particular game. This is Epic Battles, the Warlord Games Epic Battles Hail Caesar set, and this is the Hannibal two-player set, which they released. And I've been painting parts of it, well, over the past like month or so. And what we're gonna do today is we're gonna paint. Yeah, we're gonna showcase the Numidian army. And what I mean by that is basically the whole Numidian faction of the set, and this includes the Numidian light cavalry and the Numidian skirmishers who are armed with javelin, yeah, as throwing weapons. Now, I chose to go and paint this simply because I wanted something much simpler. But what I thought was going to be very simple turned out to be a little bit harder than I thought. Now, if you haven't checked out my videos, I did the Roman watchtower, and then I did the Gallic Celts, and then I did the Libyan infantry, and this the next part of the army that I want to get completed, the Numidians. It looks like a simple army to complete. I mean, it's just very few simple colors, but I found this a little bit harder for some reason, and hopefully, I can go through this and process this while I share how I did this video, how I did how I painted this army. So let's get to it. So the army I painted were the Numidians, and this were the light cavalry and the skirmishers. Now, what I did was I first got references from Victrix, simply because I need to know what the shields look like, and I had a certain idea how I wanted to do the shields. And since I had did freehand for the Gallic Celts, and I did decals for the Libyans, I wanted to go with something simpler, and so the animal skin was definitely what I thought would have been an easier proposition for me to do. I double checked what the Numidians look like, and I used pretty much the picture I got from Warlord Games' miniatures as reference. Yeah, it's just a simple few colors. As the Numidians have really dark skin, and it looks in this picture like they have like animal skin, shields, and javelins. Again, it looks like a very simple um, army to do. So yeah, let's get into it. So first off, this is the frame, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna well look into the frame and see where everything is, pretty much. Right. So let's look at the medians and where they are on the sprue. That's one, that's two, that's three, and four, five. Yeah. Well, medians have this nice looking textures on the frame. And then the five, that's one, two, three, four, and five. So yeah, that's pretty much it. One, two, and it's three, four, five. Now, as with everything, I gave the miniatures coating of matte black because I felt that this would work for these figures. So matte black for all infantry, and I also gave a matte black coat for all the cavalry as well. Simply because, again, I knew this was gonna be a one of those figures, one of those armies that has a very dark base, but I wanted to make sure that I had complete coverage because if I didn't, then the parts I did not touch would be jarringly not neat for the figures. So yes, I went with a matte black base coat. Now, as for the recipe of colors, these are the colors I used for the army. I use Army Painter's matte black, I use Army Painter's matte white. Now for the skin, I use Army Painter's onion skin, and this is I got from the Army Painter's skin tone set that came out quite a while back. And then for the rim of the shields, I went with weapon bronze. For the tip of the javelins, I went with shining uh, silver. And for the the javelin itself, I went with saddle brown. These are all pretty much basic colors that I went for. Um, and then to make sure I get some variety, I used all three of the basic quick shade, soft tone, strong tone, and dark tone. And I use soft tone more or less for a lot of the shields. I use a strong tone for a lot of the horses. I use a lot of dark tone for the tunics or the cloth that were covering the Numidians, and then I give it a highlight of white just to bring out the detail again. As for the horses, I use the same amount of colors. Again with a matte white, matte black, um, onyx skin, weapon bronze, shining silver, saddle brown. But this time I added monster brown for the horses, and I played around with the different washes to get the different tones, and I think it came out quite well. There were different tones for horses, but first let's have a look at the infantry base. Now, if you can look over here, it's quite nicely done. I went with something simple. Um, in fact, all of the different bases have the same more or less arrangement. Three in the front, two in the back for some, and two in the front, two in the back for the others. I wanted everything to be balanced, and this was the only way I could think of doing it, so it's balanced. Also, when you put them on the battlefield and they all look balanced, there's some order to it, which again I quite like. I like the order of the whole thing. I also let's just have a look at the next base, which is the cavalry light cavalry base. And for this one, there are five to a base. um, I painted them all on its own. So as you can see, the shadows are quite nice. The highlights I picked out after I had glued the horses to the base so I could find out where the highlights would go. And it all turned out quite well. The shields are not too drastic. Some shields have a bronze rim, and some shields have a black rim. Some variety, just minimal variety for the cavalry set. I think um I think the washers was the win for this one, because what it did was it gave the variety without me having to work too hard to get it. And here we see the amount of bases we get with the set. Now a single base of five, again as I said earlier, were arranged in a similar way. So I basically had I divided the bases that I had to two, and some had three in the front, two in the back, and some had two in the front, three in the back. Simply because when I put them together, it doesn't look as chaotic. I understand that they're skirmishers, then they're supposed to look chaotic all over the place. But the guy in me, the regiment guy in me wanted everything to be more or less regimented and neat, and that's where I went about it. Now, if you were to get the set and you wanted to find out what constitutes a unit, now a unit of javelin Numidians is basically two bases, and this is what it will look like on the table. A unit of Numidian skirmishers, and again, just even just one unit looks really really good. I mean, if you look from a distance, it actually captures that nice vibe. But the I do think the tunics tend to pop a little bit, but I think for this size, I think it works. Now here's the whole set, as you can see, done in and displayed. The shields, because I went with only one kind of shield design, was actually quite good for me, because what that basically means is when you look at the army in its entirety as it's going through its the motions like this, it feels like unified, and I think for me that's always a plus. Next up is the cavalry, and this is the Numidian light cavalry, five to a base, as you can see. Now, some of uh, the poses were easier to paint, and some were harder to paint simply because of the way they are posed. I think the variety of poses was really really good because what it did was it gave me a chance to, like, mix and match the different poses, so not everything was statically the same. Now, if you were to put them together in a unit, that's two bases to a unit, and that's again, not does not look too bad. Looks quite nice, and you can expect to see this roving on your flanks if you're playing Romans, and I would expect you to be using the Numidian light cavalry on your flanks, because that's what they're there for, man. They're there to harass, they're there to fade retreat. They're there to spring the trap. Also, the I found out that the Numidian cavalry was pretty fierce and pretty well known, and pretty respected. Now here's all of the Numidians in the set together, and as you can see, they look fantastic. There is a regimented look to it, I must admit. Um, I couldn't help it. I just felt that this was the faster way to do it, because just by doing it this way, I got through the set very very fast. I'm sure some folks would be interested to go in and do each base perhaps with different designs, but I want to get playing with this as soon as possible. So this simple looking thing it works. And here is both the cavalry and infantry on display. I must say that what I thought would be a very short run with this actually took much much longer. I did 2 weeks of this, um, trying to get the colors to come out right, trying to decide on how I want to do the figures, how I want to get sequence, and also life got in the way slightly. But yeah, I think I might take a small little break after painting these. Um, yeah, 2 weeks of doing just a very limited palette requires me to go and paint something a little bit more elaborate, a little bit more colorful. We'll see what happens. Now, with all of these done, I have a few more armies to do. I think the Scutari and are also there. I might do Scutari next simply because they're difficult, and after doing something simple, you want to do something difficult. Now, if you're intending to paint the Hannibal set, I would wouldn't mind recommending following the sequence I'm going with. Start off with the Gallic Celts, and then you do the Libyans, and then you do the Numidian army. Simply because when you do it this way, uh, you don't burn out so fast. Because I'm still excited about painting. The burnout hasn't happened, and the only reason I took 2 weeks to do the Numidians is, well, life, life, just got in the way. But yeah, the results are very very nice. I like the overall feel. Putting the army on the shelf, you can actually see the difference between different forces, and this would actually add to the overall feel of Hannibal's Miss Hannibal's combined army of different nations, right? Yeah, the base, just in case you want to know, the base is done with Army Painter, Brown Battleground, and Static Grass from Army Painter as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I hope you like the video. There's more to come, so stick around if you like this kind of content. Like, subscribe. Now, some folks are not getting notifications, so click ring of the bell or click the bell in order for you to get notifications of the next video. Again, it will be a mix between epic battles and other videos. So just hang in there. We'll complete the Carthaginian part of the set as soon as we can. Thanks again for viewing, and don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.